Good evening. Thank you so much, Pooja ma'am, Harpreet ma'am, Dharani ma'am. Such a beautiful name, Dharani. Thank you so much. Welcome and good evening once again. Good evening, Anamika ma'am, Ashima ma'am, Preeti, Kohli ma'am. Good evening, Radhika ma'am. Oh, you're joining from Rigveda. Great. Neha ma'am, good evening. Very good evening, everyone. We'll just wait for a couple of more minutes for everyone to join and then we are going to start. Komal ma'am, you want to share something? You have raised your hand. Komal Prasad. You can unmute and speak if you want to.
Good evening.
Good evening. Your voice is breaking. आवाज कट रही है आपकी.
Yes, ma'am. I'm Komal Prasad from Mission Public School, Nawabganj.
Yes, please tell me. Do you have any questions right now? Acha. Okay, no worries. Good evening, Poonam ma'am. Good evening, Babita ma'am. Good evening, Surbhi ma'am. Teachers, it will be really nice as we request every time if you can all switch on your cameras because it is not a very pleasant sight to be talking to black windows. So, Saraswati ma'am, thank you so much for switching on your camera. Harpreet ma'am, wonderful. Please sit up straight nicely, switch on your cameras, sit in front of your system, and let's have an interactive session. काली खिड़कियों से बात करके कोई फायदा नहीं होता. मुझे बिल्कुल मजा नहीं आता. चेहरे दिखते हैं, आपके एक्सप्रेशंस दिखते हैं. So it's a lot of fun and more interaction can happen. So please be there for the session because we have someone very special today with us. And very soon I'm going to introduce our resource person as well, a master trainer. So just as a mark of respect also, please try to keep your videos on because हम जब भी बैठते हैं सेशन में हमारे सबके videos on होते हैं. So जब हम बात कर रहे थे, I would want to see the faces. Thank you, Sonika ma'am. Thank you, Rahul sir. Wonderful. Great. All right. It gives me immense pleasure because I would like to respect everyone's time that you all have joined on time. It is such a pleasurable sight that you are here to grow with us, to know that what all we are offering, to also understand कि हमारी teachers की training एक ongoing effort है. So just to honor that and to respect everyone's time, I would warmly extend a welcome to our CBSE resource person and our trainer, Dr. Saurabh Malhotra. He is a distinguished academic leader, a trainer, administrator, and principal with over 20 years of rich experience in school, education, curriculum, development of teachers, training, and educational research. A doctorate in economics and currently serving as principal, Dr. Malhotra has played key roles with CBSE, NCRT, and SCRT, contributing to national level curriculum reforms, marking schemes, and training modules. He is a CBSE resource person for NEP 2020 pedagogies, life skills, and classroom management, and has conducted numerous train the trainer programs and capacity building workshops for educators and school leaders across India. His work with inclusive education, digital shaping progressive and learner-centric classrooms. Let us extend a very warm welcome to Dr. Saurabh Malhotra. Sir, over to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Torina ji. Good afternoon, everyone. It's a pleasure joining you with you. And today, as ma'am has, thank you, ma'am, for such a warm, detailed review of me. I have never felt that I have done so much. So, my dear friends, the topic for the day is differentiated instructions where we need to cater to diverse learners. Before I move on to that, I would just like to know how many of you have read National Education Policy 2020 in detail. Because when we talk about differentiated instructions, this is not new, but from where we are taking it up needs to be taken care of. So if someone can tell me how many of you have read National Education Policy 2020, I'm waiting for you in the chat box, because as a learner, as a teacher, as a trainer, as an academician, as an educator, this is our first responsibility to accept the changes which are happening around us. Thank you, Pooja ji. My next question to all of my dear friends: have you come across with National Cur- Curriculum Framework NCF SE? Because I'll be touching all of these points during the course of my presentation. And believe you me, I'll be making it much more interactive. I really would love to have feedbacks at the end and during it. Thank you, Vivek ji. My dear friends, how would you like to share your understanding about DI, differentiated instructions? What, according to you, is differentiated instruction and why is it important? I'll wait for 15 seconds for your replies. Differentiated instructions. It has its own meaning, it has its own challenges, it has its own purview, it has its own perspective. So I would like to understand, what is your perspective, what is your understanding about DI? Because when we are talking on a topic, and saying we are talking, we are discussing based on students' readiness interest. Thank you, Rahul ji. I'll take up this point very seriously. Readiness. We have different learners, teaching methods should be different. Rachna ji, point very well taken. Fine. When you talk about differentiated instructions, the basic idea is all about a teaching approach, as somebody just said, that a teaching approach which tailors experiences to meet students' needs. My next point here is, how many of you have understood the concept of experiential learning? Look how beautifully we can connect differentiated learning instructions to experiential learning. But before that, anyone who can tell me about the concept of experiential learning? What exactly is the concept of experiential learning? Learning by doing, okay. Hands-on learning, fair enough. It's more of a practical learning, fine. Another 5 seconds, I'll wait. Learning from surrounding and environment, fine. Let me take it up in a different angle. If I tell you that humans do not learn from their experiences, would you agree with me? And I'm repeating myself. My statement is humans do not learn from their experiences. And the complete statement would be this statement is partially correct, partially wrong. As a teacher, as a human being, I do not learn from all of my experiences. I learn by reflecting upon those experiences. And that's the definition given by, hello, and that's the experience, that's the definition which is given by Call in the experiential cycle, that humans do not learn by their experiences, they learn by reflecting upon them. As a teacher, as a student, as a learner, as an educator, we come across a lot of experiences, but not all of them are the experiential learning methods. If I'm going through a road and there is a red light, I stop here. I am having an experience with my surroundings. Somebody's just wrote that it's all about learning from the surrounding. But if I am standing on a red light, observing things, and just moving on, what is my learning? Nothing. Yes, I'm experiencing a lot of things. That there are a lot of cars. There may be some vendor over there. We may find some people are asking for selling their stuff. They all are experiences. But what is my experiential learning out of it? Nothing. So as educator, when we talk to our students in the class, we need to understand that it is the experience which we are sharing with the learner in the classroom, where he or she will be reflecting upon. And that's where his learning starts or her learning starts. Somebody mentioned it perfectly correctly that we have different type of students with different aptitude, with different attitude, and our job is to make sure that they learn in the best possible manner with the defined learning outcomes. So my job as teacher, when I'm talking about differentiated learning, is to adopt, is to accept, is to implement that kind of methodology where as a teacher I'm serving the needs of the students. There may be 40 students in a class. Each student might have different level of understanding, different areas of interest, different learning profiles. Like as a student, I was not very good at art and painting and coloring. And it's a reality. But the fact of the matter is, does that make me a so-called below average student? I may not be good at maths. I may not like science. Or I may be very, very good at numbers, but I'm not that very well articulated kind of a learner. I may not be having a great command over vocabulary. There may be a possibility. Tell me if I'm right or wrong. So if you can, if some of you can share the type of different learners that you come across, because we have one platform, this chat box, where I can actually feel your conversation. So a few different type of learners. Let me rephrase my question. I know it's not always easy. Kinesthetic, auditory, sensory. Thank you, Tohina ma'am. Visual learners. Good. Thank you very much. So, the basic importance of DI is to understand the diverse need, styles of students and to engage with them. So when I say engagement, look at the pointers, the key pointers. Students need diversity of understanding, connecting with students according to their styles. So if I join all these dots, the idea is very, very clear that my core area is to ensure that every student in the class, all 40 of them or 35 of them, with diverse level of understanding, get on to the learning outcomes which we have planned for the classroom, and to ensure that individual pace is respected. I would request you all to write down this statement if you can. We have to respect the individual pace which diverse learners generally carry. I may be maybe a person who's very quick at understanding, and my best friend may not be having same kind of pace of understanding or aptitude of understanding, but that my friend could be the best runner in the class, and I may not be as fast as him. So if he is good at sports and I'm good at numbers, we need to respect both. And believe you me, in the present times, we must adopt the kind of strategies where the resources, where the methods, where assessment techniques, where learning styles are taken up and very well understood by each of the students. At times there will be a question, multiple questions in fact, about DI. We'll take up all those questions one by one. But my bigger point, the most important point is, till now what we have understood is that we need to respect each learner's pace. We must accept that every learner has different or unique learning need, learning style. We need to, as an educator, it is our responsibility, and believe you me, it's our responsibility to adopt such training strategies which are there to support the learners, to support the students at their level. My next example, a very important one. What generally happens? As a teacher with reasonable experience, I'm thinking on this wavelength, and the learner is on this wavelength. Some of them are here, some of them are here, some of them are much below. Is it always possible for us to make sure that everyone goes up? It could be slightly difficult, but not impossible. The first thing that we need to cater is the benchmark index. And we'll discuss how to at least achieve that bottom line. And it's a Very important fact that bottom lines must be touched and affected. So here in this presentation, we'll be discussing some of the important points like significance of DI, some of the essential components of DI, a few effective strategies to implement in a heterogeneous classroom setup. Because when it comes to a real-time classroom status, the diversity could be immense. So as I initially discussed with you all about where NEP comes into play, what NEP talks about, because this is one document which is the guiding force of where we have pledged to make India a Viksit Bharat by the year 2047. So NEP talks about differentiated instructions by way of changing teaching methods according to each child's level, interest, learning style, and this NEP is the reason why people are talking about adopting flexible activities, different type of tasks, personalizing support system to the learner to ensure that every child, every student, maybe of slow level learner, average, or a rich academic background, they get equal chance. There's a very important phrase which is used in NCF SE 2023, NCLB, no child left behind. And this is the essence of NEP, that we as educators must be taking care of all the students who are sitting in a class and all the more. Forget about a document, forget about anything. As a teacher, it is my gross responsibility that every child, all 40 of them, are getting something from my class, are getting some good take home from the class, right or wrong. If you all agree with my discussion by now, quickly give me a thumbs up and then we'll move on. Thank you very much. Thanks. So, my dear friends, can you people share a few of you how you deal with this? The heterogeneous group in the class. Logical learner. Okay. Umesh ji, can you elaborate a bit on logical learner? Because this is something which is coming as a good example. Okay, homogeneous. Solitary learners, working alone, learn best by self-reflection, independent study, personal journals, good. With differentiated teaching material, I am so glad that I am in the company of very, very talented learners here, very talented educators, relying more on experience and adding great. Some kids are logical, some kids good speaker, playway methods. Excellent. So I think you people have made my task much more easier by putting all these points. Thank you, Shalini ji. So my stress on DI comes from NCF. If you look at apart from all the others, my stress is on inclusion, emphasizing education for all, regardless of socio-economic backgrounds or abilities. Even in the cross-cutting themes of NCF talks about inclusion. What kind of children do you find? Social, cultural, linguistic, economic background. What are the challenges faced while teaching or transacting curriculum? I'll stop here for you. Because as a learner, as a teacher, as an educator, we do face a lot of challenges in the routine transaction of our curriculum. So, just a few challenges, just a few challenges, because until and unless you tell me language barrier, mainly in English for countryside schools, different readiness level. Okay, right, Ankush ji? My dear friend, Mr. Rahul Singh. Rahul ji, is language, like for example, you have mentioned English. Do we really need to focus on a language or we need to focus on concept? Concept. Thank you, Pujaji. Some students do not learn bookish language. They learn only through activities. Agreed. Very well agreed. So, concept. Perfect. Bilkul perfect. More than
Uh,
perfect.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, sir.
Actually, I was talking about till class 12th or 11th or in senior classes. At that time, the question demands competency-based things. And at that time, just getting the information or getting the gist
So
of
you wanted
paper
to
is
talk
more
about
difficult.
the language of the question to the learner.
Yes, at that time, it became difficult.
I understand. I got it. Got it. Thank you very much. Point well taken, sir. So, uh, when we talk about the concept of NCLB, no child left behind in differentiated learning, the movement or the transfer from exclusion to inclusion. Till now, we have only talked about able-bodied students or learners. NEP, NCF, they talk about one more angle, the CWSN, children with special need. And I believe this particular picture will explain everything. It's a self-explanatory kind of thing. The first, exclusion. Second is segregation. that all of them are together, integration within the whole system. They are being present there, but the best part is inclusion. And this inclusion tells a lot about. I'll skip this now. Where we as educators need to check on it. Let's reflect upon DI for inclusion, physical, curriculum, pedagogy, and assessment. Yes, all of these 4 points are to be very well taken care of. Why do we have to reflect? I have been using this term time and again. Reflection. We need to. Yes, Vedantji?
Sir, your voice is breaking again, the way it was happening earlier.
Uh, just a second. Is it all fine now?
No, sir, not yet. It's still breaking.
I hope it's better, ma'am.
Yes, sir, much better.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And apologies. So, when we talk about the concept of DI, and I've been using this word reflection time and again coming back to a heterogeneous class, we need to identify the strengths and weaknesses of each and every student. My dear friends, I would like to request you all to write down a very small abbreviation. And that abbreviation is,
Sorry, sir, to cut you. So there's still network breakage, sir. Words are breaking.
uh, let me just change my, just give me a second.
Sure, sir, sure. Sir.
I hope it's far better now.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Perfect. Perfect. So, so my dear friends, I was requesting you to send me the full form of KYC.
Sir, again, the same problem. So sorry about this, but the voice is breaking. Would you like to log out and log in again?
I think I should.
Sure. Teachers, let's wait for 5 minutes. Let sir fix the network. So be there. He's going to log in and log out again. Please be there. In the meantime, if you have any questions related to the topic, please keep it ready with you. You can put in the chat box also and let us wait for sir to come back. Teachers, I will like to remind you that please be there for the entire session. At the end of the session, we will share the feedback form. Only if you fill up the feedback form, you will get the certificate. That is why it's important to understand what the process is. It is important to stay through. And जब सेशन हमारा खत्म होगा, we will share the feedback form. अगर आप feedback form नहीं भरेंगे तो certificate generate नहीं हो पाएगा. So please understand the process as well. Thank you. Akshay, please unmute, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Just a second. So just give me a minute. Yes, sir. So can you please try now?
Yeah, I hope it's all good now.
I think it was. If you can just speak one more sentence, we'll be able to confirm.
Am I audible? Comfortably
You are,
audible?
you are audible, but unfortunately, it's still breaking. It is breaking. So, do you have a headphone or a earphone with you which can get connected to the laptop?
Let me just.
Sure.
I hope it's okay.
Oh, perfect. It's perfect now.
Thank you. And apologies, sincere
No,
apologies.
not a problem, sir. Absolutely fine. Over to you.
Thank you. So, friends, what I was asking was a very simple question. Can you please tell me the full form of KYC? Anyone who can tell me the full form of KYC? Know your child. More than perfect. And this is where know your customer is for banking system. Know your child is for academic system. So when we talk about knowing a child, we need to understand it's all about understanding his weaknesses, his strengths, his thoughts, the complete SWOT analysis of a child. So we need to understand one thing very carefully, that if as an educator we want to be a successful one, we want to serve to the best to the class, we must understand that it is our responsibility to know the child inside out, his learning styles, his methods, even if we require to know the background of the child, from which socio-economic background the child is coming, we'll be able to understand that this learner might be having some problems. I quote a very simple example. If you have met a few first generation learners, their biggest problem is there's nobody at home to help for their homework. If you try to just a very simple example, if you can try, You talk to your maid who's coming to your house to get the first hand information. What kind of problem is she or he, the driver, the car cleaner, or anybody? Look, we all are privileged. Our job is, as an educator, our job is to understand that yes, there might be problems with the learner at home and to enhance the educational quality of the learner. I again request you all, make it a golden talisman of your life. Know your child for the holistic development of the learner, because that's what our responsibility towards society is. We always talk about the continuous improvement, that that the learner should improve, that the learner must be able to get on to the learning outcomes. But unfortunately, we are unable to, not as a society, but as an education system. Over the last 75 years, we have failed. But the fact of the matter is, the reflection is important. Why? Once we review, we reflect, and then we respond to a situation, it becomes all the more important for all of us to serve the best. Coming back to the topic of DI, a very famous theory. Some of my friends who have maybe undertaken some of the research, the Tomlinson theory. The theory focuses on tailoring teaching to meet the diverse need. So, if there are 40 learners in a class, your first job is to know the child. Your second job is to categorize them into similar domains or cohorts. Suppose there are, say, you have identified in all six cohorts, six typology of learners. Plan your instructions, plan your lesson accordingly, so that the learner who's there in the class with different pace, different methodologies. So, this whole concept of content, process, product, and as somebody said, learning environment. Four things: the concept, the content that you are teaching, the way you are teaching, the end product which is going to the child, and the learning environment. At times it happens, you will definitely support me in the next example. We as teacher deliver a lecture to a class, suppose in the second period. We go to the same class in the sixth period and we try to reconnect the topic from where we left. But unfortunately, not more than 50% of the students will be able to answer the questions which you will be asking. Yes or no? So it's not different day, same day, period 2, period 6, and the learners are unable to connect to your question. Reason. It's so easy to say yes. Reason. Because this reason is very important. There's a very simple, uh, very easy proverb which says the first step towards the solution of a problem is to acknowledge that there's the problem. Interest, Rahulji is writing. So we all have acknowledged that this problem exists. But my question is, the question mark lies on why. Did we not teach well? We actually had the best of our session. So the interest of the learner could be one thing. We are not helping the child according to his or her way of learning ability. Fine. Lack of concentration. Very well said. One more point, if I different child, different circumstances. Perfect. Now let me try to prove my point with another simple point. And in this democratic setup, you have all the right to say ki, sir, you are not always right. You may be wrong. So my point is, as a teacher, when I enter a class for 40 minutes, I consider myself to be Tom Cruise, who's there on a mission to finish the syllabus. I'm like, आज तो खत्म syllabus या बच्चा. I'm not sure. It's not always that the learner is at fault. We need to acknowledge that there may be a possibility where we, as educators, have to take care of certain situations. So, now do you agree with me? We have a lot of pressure from the principal, the vice principal, the coordinator, that we have written in the teacher's diary that this is the learning point, time constraint. TTG is perfectly fine. But whose responsibility? Is it the responsibility of the principal? Is it the vice principal's responsibility? We know our learner the best. Unfortunately, as educators, we have stopped raising our points. So, my dear friends, when we talk about the learning environment, we are responsible to create a learning environment which suits the readiness, the interest, the learning style of the learner. The goal is very simple: to ensure that all the students, bold, italics, underline, all students are engaged and supported by we, and we, the educators. Any query by now before I move on? Thank you, Manjula ji. Any query? Because now we are entering the rigorous part of the session. I'll wait for another 5 seconds. Rahul ji, if you are talking about the senior wing, we can have a discussion, a detailed discussion on it. And believe you me, as a academic researcher, I have worked extensively on this. How to follow it up, how to do it, right? And I have given my written suggestions to the highest authority in CBSE, and God has been so kind that they have acknowledged that, Saurabh ji, your points are very, very good. Right?
Thank
So,
you.
thank you. So, the content part, the process, the learning environment, and the product. And I'm focusing on the product now, because content and process we have talked at length. Learning environment, we all know. Let's focus on the topic product. A situation where the student can demonstrate their learning through various formats, such as projects or presentation, allowing the creativity. I'll quote an example, a very simple one, but a very beautiful one. Uh, and how many science teachers do we have here? People talked about the experiential learning part. How many science teachers or teachers with science background? Okay, Mona Lisa ji, Pooja ji, fine. So we have some good number, right? So this happened to one of my own teacher. Uh, you people must, obviously you are science student. I'm a commerce student. So there's a concept in class 9, solute, solvent, and there's something called as solute, solvent, and I don't know,
Soluble.
soluble. Thank you very much, Tuina ji. So I was observing this teacher's classroom, and class 9 teacher, and what she did, she drew a water pot and a crow, and she started her lecture with the thirsty crow. Now, we were sitting there and we were so amazed. She started with the concept कि बच्चों, imagine the story. The crow would not have found pebbles. He could have found sugar cubes. And when those sugar cubes, suppose he was putting, what would have been the situation? Would the water level have come up? And we were so happy. Look at the way a class 9 teacher started it. That is the art of storytelling, connecting with class 9 topic. And this is where learning environment is very crucial. And then she explained the concept of intermolecular mass, uh, the water level coming up, and all those things. And believe you me, nobody, including the observers, there were 4 observers who were observing her class. Nobody moved. And this gentle lady had her best explaining the concept. So there were people who were above academic standards. Some of them were average. Some of them were below. Commendable. So that is what we as educator need to know. Another teacher gave a beautiful example. Again, uh, she was teaching the concept of law of inertia. If somebody can tell me what is law of inertia. Bhai dekho, I was a commerce student. I was not very good at science. But anyone who can tell me law of inertia. Why everyone has gone into inertia?
I kind of have a vague idea. I am also a commerce student, not a science student,
Please,
but
please,
a vague
please.
idea that if an
Yeah,
object is resting at one place, then it continues to rest. And if the object has to move, then the pace will be equal to something, something is what I
Chali.
remember.
Let me simplify it for you. A body at rest would like to remain at rest till it is disturbed by some external force. So all my dear friends who are very good at science, please correct me if I'm wrong. A body at rest would like to remain at rest till it is disturbed by some external force. Correct? Thank you very much. And the best example, look how to make a class interesting with the class. The best example is the books lying in the cupboard of a student. Body at rest would like to remain at rest. till they are disturbed by some external force. And the external force is date sheet. The child will never ever forget it. कि यार, my teacher connected my own story with the concept. And this is where we need to create the product. We need to create a product where the child understands it well. I hope I'm okay. So, as some of my dear friends talked about the VAC theory, we all have studied the concept of Dr. Gardner's multiple intelligence theory. I hope you all remember. So it was your B.Ed days when you studied multiple intelligence theory by Dr. Gardner. A simplified version of that was given by Neil Fleming in 1987, where he talked about the four type of learners: visual, auditory, reading, writing, and kinesthetic. It's a subset of the theory given by Dr. Gardner. So our job as educator in a classroom is to check out with all the four. But with what strategies? This is something which is very interesting and very adaptable as well. Because we have some of our friends who are at who are teaching at the higher grades, 9 to 12. Some of you are teaching at 6 to 8th level. Some of you might be teaching the primary wing. So if I can quickly have an idea, if I can quickly have an idea of how many of you are teaching 9 to 12th grades, so senior grades, middle and primary. A very quick sharing, very, very quick. Senior Rahulji, primary, middle, senior grades, PRT, primary, fine. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So, these strategies with slight modifications can be adopted at all the levels. I am not saying that all these strategies are easily adaptable to all the levels. I'm not saying that. I'm saying with slight modification, these strategies can be taken up. So the first one is a very easy one, the tiered assessment system. Differentiated strategy where the same learning goal, focus on same learning goal. As I said, the bottom line has to be achieved. Is given to all students, but the tasks vary in complexity based on the student's readiness. Rahul ji raised a very important point that if we talk about a class structure, the concept is there, but the delivery mechanism to different type of learners are different. Agreed or not? The best of the learner could easily get bored after 15 minutes or 10 minutes. Ki, sir, why are you repeating all these things? I'm okay with this. I have understood. Let's move on. So my job as educator is to keep him engaged. Again, very important word. Engagement is important because if the engagement is compromised, there will be, if the engagement is compromised, there will be indiscipline in the class. So engaging everyone with different version of assignments, ensuring every student is working on the same concept but at different levels, that is very important. Right. Different learning stations, thorough reading, hands-on activity, use of technology. Uh, Believe you me, today's learner is someone who is taking care of everything with the help of technology. You cannot isolate the present day learner from any sort of technology. And their readiness level, their interest level, their interest level, it goes up if you take technology into the routine classroom system. You can give them group work as well to keep them engaged. The next approach, raft, role, audience, format, and topic. Here, the student is supposed to write from a specific point of view for a particular reader in a chosen format about a topic. It encourages creativity and deeper understanding. Let's quickly discuss about it, because this is something which is very easily adaptable. The best part is, when we talk about any of the technology, any of the strategy, we must ensure that it is adaptable in a real classroom system. So how many of you have heard of flipped learning? How many of you have heard of flipped learning? Premlata ji. So, Premlata ji, how are you implementing it? The concept of flipped learning, something which is very comfortable for a teacher to plan, where you assign the role of a teacher to the student. It's a beautiful way. So we have talked about science teachers. Let's talk about social science teachers. Pre-class work, okay? Students learn at their own pace, classroom activity. Monitor the student. No, it's not monitoring, ma'am. It's not monitoring. When we talk about flipped classroom, is where the teacher sits and the student teach. Peer learning can be said it out. So let me quickly give you an idea. Suppose I have to teach the concept, say in history, any of the Battle of Panipat or anybody, anything. Let's start a role play where there are two enemies, say Akbar talking to uh, Maharana Pratap, and they are debating about how to proceed for it, explaining any topic. So when we talk about these kind of activities, they create a learning environment wherein all the learners have the audience in the form of their peers and the teacher. We uh, we all have to give marks on the basis of internal assessment. Now, those internal assessments can be taken up on these lines. And believe you me, try it out. You will get excellent results. And this I am not saying merely words. I'm I have adopted it. My teachers are adopting it, and they are getting excellent result. Compacting the curriculum, again a very simple way, where the advanced learners talk to the students, again a peer learning system. But if I have mastered a topic and I am discussing the same thing with my peer, another important way, if not the same level, a class 11 student, maybe your student council member, a very intelligent one, is going to class 6th, 7th, 8th to explain a topic. And I'm giving you a very practically applicable idea. These days, we are talking about financial literacy. Try out your 11th, 12th commerce students to go to class 6th, 7th, 8th, or in a special assembly. What they can do, they can deliver a lecture. And my dear friends, learning doesn't just occur in a classroom. Learning can happen anywhere. It should have learning outcomes. And with this methodology, believe you me, you will be able to get real good results. Anchor activities are meaningful tasks students work on independently when they finish their classroom or even during the downtime. You have 40 minutes of period. You have a planned downtime. And it's a very important thing. When you plan a downtime, you don't have to stretch your period, your classroom to a 40 minutes. Plan your lecture only for 30 minutes. Give that 10 minutes of precious time as a downtime to the child. Let them discuss the topic. Let them work on it. Let them ensure that their learning is mutual. And it will make your task more interesting and a slightly easier as well. We have to plan for differentiated lesson plans for gifted learner, struggling learners. Gifted, struggling, let them hold hand of each other. Students learn the best when they explain. Let me again ask you a question. How many of you have experienced that your own child loves to explain a topic to you? Ki, Mama, just sit down. Papa, just sit down and listen to me. I have learned this topic. I want you to learn it. Just listen to me. And their confidence level is reflected by the content that they deliver. Your students can do it. And as not as a educator, as a parent also, we feel elated कि यार my bacha is getting. Yes, you ask your child, beta, what you have studied in the class and teach me. They would love to share it. Now apply the same thing in the classroom. Try it out. And believe you me, for creation of learning environment, it's a beautiful thing. Yes, undoubtedly. सरस्वती जी बिल्कुल ठीक है. Suppose I'm an economics teacher, right? For one day, 10 minutes. One day, 10 minutes, talk to them. What have you studied in business studies? I'm sitting here, explain me a topic of business studies. Try it out in a substitution period. I'm giving you the best strategy to get connected to your class. You have a substitution period. Again, the learning should not stop even in a substitution period. Yes or no? So suppose you are taking a substitution period. You invite the class. Fine, I am sitting here. Teach me a topic of your choice which you have studied. And believe you me, those 40 minutes will be a fun based learning. And you know what will happen? The gifted learner will get up, they will explain everything, and those struggling learners, when they are listening to him or her, they will be able to better understand. That's how you can use your time much more productively. Anyone who would like to ask any question by now? Because now we are moving to the last segment of our discussion.
Yeah. Akshay, you can give the rights to the participants to unmute themselves if they have a question in 5 minutes from now.
Very good question, Pooja ji. Let me wind up this topic quickly and I'll take up your queries. And the part is planning and implementation. So if as an educator, we fail to plan, it's a recipe for disaster. As a teacher, 40 minutes are at my command. I know how to use those 40 minutes. It's my responsibility. But that implementation will happen only if I have planned. Assessing students' need, we have already discussed. Using data to guide differentiation, something which is very crucial. The marks that they get, the summative, the formative, they guide you. And coming from economics background, I always believe in numbers. Numbers are your best friend and your biggest foe. If you are using them in the best possible manner, they can serve the best purpose. And if you are unable to use them, you will find numbers as your biggest foe. So work out with numbers, get data, get information, and plan your lesson well. The third step, co-planning with your colleagues. You know, 21st century is the age of collaboration. We talk to our kids that you need to collaborate. And believe you me, you can listen to my next statement very carefully. The 21st century learner is far, far, far more intelligent than what we were at that age. एक छोटा सा question, and then I'll come to your question. Why the present generation is better than our generation? How many of you know how to make a cup of tea? I'm waiting. How many of you know how to make a cup of tea? Perfect. Even I. Okay. Good. Perfect. How many of you own a chain called as Chayos? How many of you have raised a startup called as Chayos? चाय बनानी आती है, चायोस बनानी नहीं आती. चायोस 21st century learner ने बनाई. They collaborated well. They implemented the idea. They are far, far, far ahead. And we must respect them. And that is where I feel that as an educator, it is our responsibility to respect them and never underestimate them. Right? So, Tuhina ma'am, if you allow me, can I take up the queries?
Yes, please, sir. Absolutely. We can stop sharing the screen and ask the audience to unmute themselves. Please raise your hand. If you have any queries, we will take your questions now. But what a wonderful session. I couldn't even, leave even for a washroom break or a water break. I wanted to hear the entire thing that you said. Very,
I am
very
humbled.
interesting.
I am humbled. Thank you.
Yeah, teachers, we are open to question answers. You may please raise your hand or write in the chat box.
देखो भाई, एक बहुत सिंपल सी बात है. क्लास के बाद when a teacher asks any queries and there is silence in the class, there could be two possibilities. या तो सब समझ में आ गया या कुछ भी नहीं आया. ठीक है. So please raise your discussion query.
I was really intrigued by the thing that you mentioned, that the science teacher took up the soluble solvent topic with the help of the
Thirsty crow.
thirsty crow. Fantastic example. At
And
that
it's a,
level, because higher grades, we usually take it for granted that yes, kids will understand. No teacher would put that extra effort of taking the topic like this.
and ma'am, I am nurturing my teachers like this. So last 2.5 years, not even a single resignation in my school.
Wow, that's fantastic.
So
That's
that's the
fantastic.
kind of environment we need to give as
Hmm.
leaders.
Right.
Please, please unmute and talk. I'm not reading anything in the chat box.
Yeah, Rahul sir, you can unmute and ask your question.
Yes, Rahul sir.
Yeah, we have in the chat box, but would like to hear it from you. Akshaya, Rahul sir, please. Yeah.
What if a student became dependent on easy task and avoid taking challenges or the difficult task in that case or scenario? What should we do? How to
Perfect.
cope up?
Perfect. What is the challenge to a low achiever? What is the challenge to a average achiever? And what is the challenge to the higher order level banda?
Or
I'm coming to your point. I understood your point. So you know what? If you raise the bar gradually for different learners, if you try to give them the most difficult assignment at the bent of it, the learner will not be able to cope up with you. You do not put a under 14 batsman to play in the Australian test match wickets. So challenges should grow gradually. हर बच्चे का चैलेंज अलग है. आप अगर सबको सेम लेवल का चैलेंज डालोगे ना, दिस इज वेयर वी एज एजुकेटर जनरली मेक मिस्टेक. मैंने आपसे कहा क्या था कि 40 बच्चों की क्लास है. यू हैव मेड 5 cohorts. Make 5 assignments. To the bottom cohort, give 1 assignment. Next, second, third, fourth, fifth. Yes, undoubtedly, our efforts will be increased. But you know, as educator, when you cater to their needs, the satisfaction which you get is paranormal. As educators, we are not happy with the monetary benefits. But वो जो कभी मार्केट में जाते हुए एक बच्चा पैर छू लेता है ना कि सर आपने ना you taught me in class 10th and today I am running a company of 50 crores. You feel elated. और ये वो बच्चे होते हैं जो क्लास में नहीं पढ़ रहे होते. ठीक है ना? Anyone else?
We have a question from Kaushika Sharma.
जी, कौशिका जी, please.
Please unmute yourself, though we have your question in the chat box, but would love to hear it from you. Kaushika Sharma.
Ma'am, please unmute yourself. Kaushika ma'am, please unmute yourself.
Okay, I'm going to read out her question.
Yeah,
Sir,
please
all
read.
the sorry, yes, please.
Please read out.
Sir, all the individual are not same as we all know. Kindly guide us on that, how to cope up with those situations in the class. I think the session was all about this only.
One word. Empathy. Be in the seat of the learner. You will get the solution. Suppose you are swapping that the child is a teacher and you are a learner and you have different characteristics. How you want your teacher to teach you. I completed my doctorate in economics. If there would have been some good science teacher teaching me in class 9th, God knows I would have been some space scientist or something. So your role is important. You need to swap कि अगर मैं उस बच्चे की जगह पे हूं तो मैं क्या expect करूंगा. Sorted.
True. Great. So we have the next question from Rajbir Kaur. Either you can unmute yourself or we will read out the question. Rajbir Kaur. We have 5 minutes left, so I'm going to read out the question. Is it possible to choose different topics for different students?
In the same class, no. Because one class, 40 minutes, lesson planning has to be there. DI talks about different strategies for the same topic. Any other question?
We have one from Priyanka Maheshwari. Today's generation become more aggressive nowadays. Please provide the solution.
Because you don't listen to them.
Basic skill of listening. There's
You
a
know,
difference between listening and hearing.
and that is the most important thing. And this is the fault of educators. We always teach them to write, to read, but not to listen.
True.
And you know, the more you ask them to listen, listening is, as ma'am said, hearing plus understanding is listening. Hearing तो यहां से सुना, यहां से निकाला. Hearing and understanding is listening. And believe you me, on a lighter note, if a student has to grow up as a future husband, he should be taught how to listen.
This is घर घर की कहानी then.
Anyone else?
Yeah, we'll take the one last question from Saraswati ma'am. Nowadays, facing different students at one standard, like 4 or 5 types of student, how can we handle those? I'm not clear with the question though.
I think, ma'am, know your child is your best solution. Talk to the child, get into the background of the child. You will be able to get them.
I think we don't have any more questions in the chat box. And at this note, I would really want to thank you, Dr. Sam. Thank you so much for this fabulous session. It was an eye-opening, a refresher for me as well as an educator, as a trainer. It was wonderful listening to you and sitting through for the last 1.5 hours. Thank you so much for the beautiful evening. Thank you, teachers, for joining in full strength. Thank you for being interactive. Rahul sir, the best participant award goes to you. You were throughout there in the session, asking questions and nodding and acknowledging to whatever sir was saying. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, sir, once again. And
Thank you. Allow
have
me
a
to
good evening. Thank you. Have a good evening ahead, everyone. Thank you so much.